Elder Neil A. Maxwell once said, "With enduring comes a willingness to press forward even when we are bone weary and would much rather pull off to the side of the road." Utah's Kerry Chlarson is pressing forward with an amazing attitude. Chlarson was in a terrible accident in his Marine base in 1986. During his nightly rounds, a civilian ran a stop sign and hit Clarson's Jeep.
I remember the Jeep being hit. Last thing I remember is flying toward the windshield. Evidently gasoline spilled into the street and I was knocked into it. Broken headlight ignited the fuel, they assume, and saw the flames and came to investigate.
25-year-old Kerry Chlarson was in those flames, a commissioned officer in the Marines stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. He was transferred to a military burn center in San Antonio, Texas, accompanied by his wife Patty and infant daughter.
Before we did that, I was able to call our bishop to come and give him a blessing. He came with the elders quorum president, gave him a blessing, gave me a blessing, which I think gave me the strength that lasted me for years, to know that he was going to be okay.
For several months, Chlarson was in a coma. He suffered third-degree burns over nearly 50% of his body, including severe inhalation damage to his lungs. Patty never left his bedside, reading him the scriptures every day.
Even times when he couldn't speak or he couldn't see, if I read the scriptures to him or we sang hymns to him, you would just see a peace and a calmness come over him. I think the things of the gospel really comforted him.
After nearly 7 months in San Antonio, Chlarson was moved to the VA hospital in Salt Lake City. For the next 2 years, he had to relearn everything from walking to eating. While his feet were spared the flames, his hands were so severely burned, doctors had to remove large portions of his fingers, his biggest obstacle when he decided to go to law school.
My first test of law school, I tried to write the exam, and by the time that I'd finished, my hand was bleeding. That's one of the problems I have. I bleed easy. The skin's just not very tough. So after that, the law school let me dictate.
25 years later, Chlarson still endures physical pain and the uncertainty of how people see him, but he continues to persevere. He earned his Juris Doctorate degree at the University of Utah. He served 2 service missions in the Church History Department, is a counselor in his bishopric, and currently an administrative law judge for the Utah Labor Commission. Chlarson said he's never been bitter about his situation, preferring instead to use the challenge to grow closer to Heavenly Father.
I still knew God loved me. I knew my Heavenly Father loved me still. In fact, sometimes I think you grow closer to God in your tribulations than you do otherwise, because you tend not to think of Him when you're doing well. I think to view the challenges you have as an opportunity to grow closer to your Heavenly Father and trust in Him. He gives you what you need for whatever challenge you have. And sometimes I think the simple challenges are the hardest.
Chlarson has had to endure numerous surgeries. He told me he stopped counting at 40. Kerry and Patty are the parents of 4 children with 1 granddaughter, and their second son will soon leave on a mission. Speaking of missions, it's the 50th anniversary of the Provo MTC. Carol Makita takes us inside for an unprecedented look at what missionary life is all about. Also ahead, a look at beautiful artwork full of testimony. Primary children worldwide put pen to paper to share their blessings.